Hey guys, thanks for tuning into this week's episode of Revealed. As you can see behind me, we have a cabinet and a bunch of cabinet pieces. These are actually reworked cabinets. We ran into some issues that we'll dig into in a minute here. With the first set, we needed to take out the old cabinetry and take new field measurements so that we could pre-build all of these cases in our shop. So once we had everything measured and cut to size, we fully assembled each of these in our shop to make sure that we weren't going to run into any issues. Once we had everything assembled, due to some site condition restraints such as the elevator and the back stairwell, we had to disassemble all of these cases and rebuild them here once they were on site in the space. So we're going to go ahead and get these loaded up and we'll see you on site.
No, goes for that one.
What's this two for? I'm gonna have to resand that, thanks.
I don't like it.
What's up, baby?
How about we just freaking stand it up?
That's fine too.
Yeah.
You start going down.
Oh, she said.
So now that we do have everything assembled and we're here on site, these cases actually slide perfectly right into the space they were built for. Or do they? Oh, as I stab my hand. Play it cool, play it cool. If Leonardo DiCaprio can do it, I can do it. So we're on the top floor of an old brownstone. It has a mansard roof, which is why these cases look the way they do. So there's actually some framing, some rafters behind these cases that we had to work around. So in the shop, we went ahead and mitered all of these boxes beforehand. So once we had the four-sided case assembled here, we could just go ahead and drop that mitered box right into the case for a seamless fit. Because there was some existing boxes that we had already done and the plasterwork was complete around those boxes, we had to go ahead and unfortunately break out a lot of this plaster to allow for the new design. So with the old design, the intent was that there was going to be a flat panel door here on a touch latch. So once you push this door open, there would be a white oak box on the inside. A similar design to what is currently here, where it had a few shelves and even some drawers. Now, this didn't end up working out for us. We ran into some hinge issues as we didn't have the depth for a standard hinge and we weren't getting the correct reveals with this being sort of an inset yet full overlay cabinet. The old cabinet was stepped back a little bit, allowing the door to be flush with the walls. With this new design, we're gonna go ahead and take a modified corner bead mud flange and we're going to epoxy and screw this right to the edge of our cabinet, giving us a nice hard edge for the plaster to then be screeded across. This will give us a seamless transition from the plastered wall into the case. Now it's all going to be painted the same, so once this is opened, you're never going to see any hard lines or transitions. It'll be a sharp 90-degree corner going right back into the case. So when you do have this door here, it will still be on a push latch, and there's only going to be a very small seam around the entire perimeter of the door. So when this is done, it's actually going to look very similar to some access panels that are over here. Now, this is just an access panel for some of the mechanicals in the room. You can see it has a small reveal around the perimeter, as well as the door is on the same plane as the plastered wall, and everything will be finished in the same paint and the same color. When it came time to make the new cabinets, the hinges were something that we really had to put a lot of consideration into and really find a product that was going to work for this application, as it's not as cut and dry as it seems, so it did require a bit more of a specialty hinge. The solution that we came up with was using one of these invisible hinges. These hinges are going to allow us to have an inset door and give us that full 90-degree opening with minimal reveals. So our gaps are gonna be nice and tight around this entire door. The way that these hinges work is they do get mortised into both the door and the jamb, and in this case the jamb is the side of our cabinet. Now you can see here we did end up cutting through the box a little bit to get these to fit, but no worries there, as we are going to be epoxying and screwing this mud flange in. That'll give us the extra structure that we need for this hinge. So once the hinge is in and our door is mounted, we will have complete 90-degree opening of this door. Now over on the other side, James has already gotten one of the flanges on temporarily. So let's go take a look at what he's doing there. Hey James, how you doing? So with the flange on, you can see that we're now going to be sitting behind the face of the plaster. This will give them a couple of points to screed the plaster off of, making sure that we're nice and flat and in plane going across with our door.
This one's a little different in that it doesn't go into the shadow reveal on the bottom. So it actually is closed in on all four sides. So we need to make sure that the case itself is not only level and plumb, but even with the walls on all points to maintain a flat surface.
So that's a great point. 3 out of these 4 cabinets actually have a shadow bead that runs across the baseboard. Now, this shadow got consistent throughout the entire unit. So when our door is on, it will be on the same plane as the wall, but stopping short about a ½ inch, allowing for that shadow gap. So speaking of the doors, let's grab one and we can pop it into place just to give a rough idea of what it's going to look like, because we added a grooved pull to these doors to make them a little bit easier to open. All right, James, let's go ahead and mount this door.
Yeah, that sounds better.
Oh, that sounds horrible. All right, James, let's get these hinges on. Because this is MDF, we want to make sure that we are sufficiently pre-drilling before we add the screws, so that we're not going to split the MDF and we do get a nice tight grip on the screws. Whenever you're doing any kind of inset door, you're always going to want to make a temporary handle, whether it's from a piece of painter's tape or from something else. Once the door is closed, you can very easily lose it within that space, and getting it out can be very difficult. So the idea here is to make this as minimally visible as possible. So once this is all painted, we don't want to add any hardware on here. So we're going to use a push latch. So once you push in on the door, it pops it open. Probably only going to pop it open a couple inches like this. So we went ahead and added a grooved pull to the inside here. This will allow you a little bit more space and easier access to open that door fully. Not only does it allow you to grab the edge of the door a little bit easier, removing the back end of this corner allows us to use these hinges and fully open the door. Had we kept this back corner square, we would have ended up rubbing on the edge of our mud flange. So with a pull like this in MDF, you're going to have a lot of open pores, and if we were to just go ahead and paint that, that paint is just going to soak right into that MDF pull and not really give us a really great finish. So one thing that we do is in the shop, we use a wood glue and water mixture and brush that into this groove before sanding it. That allows us to fill in all those pores so that we can get a nice flat, smooth finish on that pull. All right, guys, as we wrap up this episode, I do have a question for you. In the comments, let us know what hinges you would have used for this application. Now check back in a couple weeks where we show you the final reveal of this unit. And as always, subscribe, leave us some comments, and like the video, and we'll catch you guys next week. Doo-doos. Doo-doo. Oh, still, I don't like that. So we're on the top floor of an...
What was that?
No.
Okay.
This is where the bloopers happens, whenever it's us. What we're doing? Doug, you never have to apologize. You should know that. We would have ended up rubbing on the edge of our mud
Mud flange?
and